Hello, good evening. So our topic today is why not pollute the air? Why not pollute the air? So we're talking about air pollution, and this is related to environmental education. Mega shout out, Jan. Thank you so much. Hello, Nature TV. Shout out. Jason Ledisma. Thank you so much. Albert Swan. Mega shout out. Ayan, Litas Journey. Thank you, thank you. Do not pollute the air. So when we breathe, pollution enters our lungs and can enter into our bloodstream. Air can contribute to small annoyances like coughing or itchy eyes. It can also cause or worsen many diseases involving the lungs and breathing, leading to hospitalizations, cancer, or even premature death. Air pollution is all around us, indoors, outdoors, in cities, and in the countryside. It affects us all, whether we realize whether we realize it or not. For the longest time, we have taken the air we breathe for granted. So there was air, there were smells, there was cold wind, there was hot air. But recent research has started to shed light on some rather worrisome aspects of what the air around us really contains and how it affects our bodies. And the more we learn, the more we come to realize that this essential source of life for the planet needs and some serious taken care of. Without air, there can be no life, but breathing polluted air condemns us to life of disease and early death. So that's why, guys, we must be aware of our environment, of the kind of air we are breathing. So we'll talk about this air pollution. Air is really essential for life, or essential for life itself. Without it, we cannot survive. We cannot survive without it. Only yes, that's why air is essential for life. Without it, we could survive only a few minutes. It constitutes immediate physical environment of living organisms. The atmosphere is layered in into four distinct, which are troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, and thermosphere. So those are the layers of the atmosphere. Normal components of our atmosphere, nitrogen, that is 70.1%, and oxygen, that is 20.9% converted, it will be converted to 21%. Carbon dioxide, that is 0.03%. Everything else, 0.07%. Noble gases, krypton, xenon, argon, helium, methane, sulfur dioxide. That is, it constitutes 0.07%. What is air pollution? Air pollution consists of gases, liquids, or solid present in the atmosphere in high enough levels to harm humans, other organisms, or materials. May be defined as any atmospheric condition in which certain substances are present in such concentrations that they can produce undesirable effects on man and his environment. Any visible or invisible particle or gas found in the air that is not part of the original normal composition. So, air pollution may be either emitted into the atmosphere or formed within the atmosphere itself. Primary air pollutants, sources such as factory, chimney, or exhaust pipe. Secondary air pollutants include, example, ozone. Sources of primary air pollutants, that is, uh, in transportation is 57%, uh, miscellaneous 10%, fuel, combustion, that is, except in vehicle, 21%, industrial processes, 12%, I think. That is the approximate percent. The main sources of air pollution are automobiles. Um, Motor vehicles are major source of air pollution throughout the urban areas. They emit hydrocarbons, carbon monoxide, lead, nitrogen oxides, and particulate matter. In strong sunlight, certain of these hydrocarbons and oxides of nitrogen may be converted into the atmosphere into photochemical pollutants of oxidizing nature. The main source of air pollution are, in addition, diesel engine, when misused or badly adjusted, are capable of emitting black smoke and malodorous fumes. Bigyan lang shoutout dyan for people watching. Thank you so much. These are industries. Combustion of fuel to generate heat and power produces smoke, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxides, and fly ash. Petrochemicals industries generate hydrogen fluoride, hydrochloric acid, and organic halides. These are the main sources of air pollution in industry. Many industries discharge carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, ozone, hydrogen sulfide, and sulfur dioxide. Industries discharge their waste from high chimneys at high temperature and high speed. In domestic sources, domestic combustion of coal, wood, or oil is a major source of smoke, gas, sulfur dioxide, and nitrogen oxide. Um, Tobacco smoke. The most direct and important source of air pollution affecting the health of many people are tobacco smoke. Even those who do not smoke may inhale the smoke produced by others. That is what we call passive smoking. The, the miscellaneous, when we speak of miscellaneous, this comprise burning refuse, incinerators, pesticide spraying, natural sources, for example, wind, burn, uh, burn dust, fungi, molds, bacteria, nuclear energy programs, all of this contribute to air pollution. Although the Earth's atmosphere extends to several layers above the surface, it is only the what the first 30 kilometer that hold the major portion of the atmosphere gases. Man is most directly concerned with only 8.10 kilometer of the atmosphere. So the level of atmosphere pollution at any time depends upon the meteorological factors, for example, topography, air movement, and climate. Winds help in the dispersal and dilution of pollutants. So if the topography is dominated by mountain or tall buildings, the winds become weak and calm, and pollutants tend to concentrate in the breathing zone. I mean, the vertical diffusion of pollutants depends upon the temperature gradient. When there is a rapid cooling of lower layers of air, temperature inversion, there is a little vertical motion and the pollutants and water vapor remains trapped at the lower levels, and the result is smog. The temperature inversion, which is more frequent in the winter months than in spring or summer, is a threat to human health. These are the five major pollutants: carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, particulate matter, ground level ozone. Carbon monoxide. It it is colorless, odorless gas, a product of incomplete combustion of carbon containing materials such as in automobiles, industries processes, heating facilities, and incinerators. Some widespread natural, non-biological, and biological sources have also been identified. No? Concentration in urban areas depend on weather and traffic density. These are the effects of carbon monoxide pollution on health. It causes harmful effect by reducing oxygen delivery to body organ. So in extremely high level, it can cause death. You know, guys, our body needs oxygen. Our body needs oxygen to function. If we cannot, if oxygen will not be distributed, it will lead to heart attack, stroke, something like that. Carbon dioxide's affinity for HB is 240 to 270 times greater than oxygen, and fetal HB has higher affinity for carbon monoxide. So it competes with oxygen to bind a reversible with hemoglobin. Yes, our blood contains hemoglobin. It has hemoglobin, the color red because of the presence of oxygen, the oxygenated blood. So by this exposure to it, reduce the oxygen carrying capacity of the blood to the heart, brain, and other organs. Deprives the body of oxygen, causing headache, fatigue, and impaired vision. Then the other one is sulfur dioxide. It is one of the several mm, forms in which sulfur exists in air. The others include uh, hydrogen sulfide, sulfuric acid, and sulfate salts. Sulfur dioxide results from the combustion of sulfur containing fossil fuel when coal and fuel oil are burned. Domestic fires can also produce emissions containing sulfur dioxide, acid aerosol, sulfuric acid, no? Strong acid that is formed from the reaction of sulfur trioxide gas with water. Nitrogen dioxide, um, by combustion, nitrogen dioxide, which has greater health effects, is a secondary pollutant created by the oxidation of, air pollutant under the conditions of sunlight, or may be formed directly higher to, that is nitrous oxide under the condition of sunlight, or may be formed directly by higher temperature, no? Combustion in power plants or indoors from gas stoves. Nitrogen dioxide, that is reddish brown gas present in car exhaust and power plants. Levels of exposure to nitrogen dioxide that should not be exceed the WHO guidelines or the World Health Organization guideline levels are respectively 400, no? UG, uh, cubic meter. That is 0.21 parts per million ppm for 1 hour, and 150 ug cubic meter, or 0.08 ppm for 24 hours. That is according to World Health Organization in 1987. Particulate matter represents a complex mixture of organic and inorganic substances. Mass composition tend to divide into two principal groups. The coarse particles larger than 2.5, yes, in aerodynamic diameter, and the particulate smaller than 2.5 in aerodynamic diameter. The smaller particles contains the secondary form, aerosols, combustion particles, and recom- recombinants, organic and metal vapors. The large particles usually contain Earth's crustal material and fugitive dust from roads and industries. Particulate matter of respirable size may be emitted from a number of sources, some of them natural, for example, dust storms, and many others that are more widespread and more important, for example, power plants and industrial processes, domestic coal burning, industrial incinerators. Ground level ozone. This form when pollutants such as nitrogen oxide and volatile organic compounds react in sunlight. High levels can cause breathing problems, reduce lung function, and it triggers asthma symptoms. Ground level ozone can also seriously damage crops and vegetation. Ozone is powerful greenhouse gas and contributes to global warming both directly and by reducing carbon uptake by vegetation. These five together form smog. Smog is made up of mixture of those pollutants in the atmosphere, combination of words, smoke, and fog. There are two types: reducing smog, characterized by sulfur dioxide and particulate, and photochemical smog, characterized by ozone and other oxidants. First smog-related deaths were in London in 1873, death of 500 people. Can you imagine how much worse the atmosphere is now? Limits visibility, decreases ultraviolet radiation, yellow-black color over cities, causes respiratory problems and bronchial-related death. Other pollutant, carbon dioxide is not commonly regarded as an air pollutant, although man generate enormous amount, enormous amount of it in combustion process using coal, oil, and gas. Carbon dioxide is a natural constituent of air. It does not take part in any significant chemical reactions with other substances in the air. However, its global concentration is rising above the natural level of any amount that could increase global temperature enough to affect climate markedly. So this would lead to global warming uh, if it is too much of carbon dioxide because of population growth, because maybe of the illegal activities that may affect the trees, the plants, destruction of habitat, something like that. Volatile organic compounds is categories of methane and non-methane. Methane is an extremely efficient greenhouse gas which contributes to enhance global warming. The aromatic compound benzene, toluene, and xylene are suspected carcinogens and may lead to leukemia through prolonged exposure. Yes, guys. Polynuclear aromatic hydrocarbons are large group of organic compounds with two or more benzene ring. They are formed mainly as a result of pyrolytic process, especially the incomplete combustion of organic materials as well as in natural processes such as carbonization. There are about 500 uh, PEH in the air. The best known is BAP, something like that. Polynuclear aromatic hydrocarbons. That is PEH, that is polynuclear aromatic hydrocarbons. The average total of this BAP content in the mainstream smoke of one cigarette was 35, yes, 35 ng before 1960 and 18 ng in 1978 to 79. Modern low tar cigarette gives 10 ng BAP. The concentration of BAP in a room extremely polluted with cigarette smoke can be 22 ng cubic meter. In the past, chimney sweeps and tar workers were dermally exposed to substantial amounts of PAH and or the polynuclear aromatic hydrocarbons. And there is sufficient evidence that skin cancer in many of these workers was caused by polynuclear aromatic hydrocarbons or POF. Epidemiological studies in coke oven workers, coal gas workers, and employees in aluminum production plants provides sufficient evidence of the role of PA or polynuclear aromatic hydrocarbons in the induction of lung cancer. Owing to its carcinogenicity, no safe level of PA can be recommended. Toxic metals, example lead, cadmium, copper. Those metals are produced from different factories and can have immediate health effects and long-term effects on human health. Others, the chlorofluorocarbons, pyros, uh, peroxysa, peroxyacetyl nitrite, or PAN, the chlorofluorocarbons or CFCs, monitoring of air pollution. So the best indicator of air pollution are sulfur dioxide, smoke, and suspended particles. A known volume of air is filtered through a white filter paper under the specified conditions, and the stain is measured by photoelectric meter. Smoke concentration is estimated and expressed as micrograms cubic meter of air as an uh, average level over a period of time. Grit and dust measurement deposit gauges collect grit, dust, and other solids that are analyzed monthly. Coefficient of haze. A factor used particularly in the USA in assessing the amount of smoke or other aerosol in air. The AQI or Air Quality Index. Indicates whether pollutant levels in the air may cause health concerns or not. Ranges from zero least concern to 500 greatest concern. These are the types of air pollution. Air pollution can be divided into indoor air pollution, domestic level, or outdoor pollution. Indoor air pollution is one of the most critical global environment problems, probably exposes more people worldwide to important air pollutants than dust pollution in outdoor air. Rural people in developing countries may receive as much as two-thirds of global exposure to particulates. According to the World Health Organization, around 3 billion people still cook and heat their homes using solid fuels in open fires and leaky stoves. About 2.7 billion burn biomass wood, animal dung, crop waste, and further 0.4 billion use coal. Such cooking and heating produces high levels of air pollution with a range of damaging pollutants. Indoor air pollution in poorly ventilated dwellings, indoor smoke can be 100 times higher than acceptable levels for small particles. Exposure is particularly high among women and young children who spend the most time near the domestic health. Pollutant respirable particles. Sources is tobacco smoke, stove, aerosol sprays. Carbon monoxide coming from combustion equipment, stove, gas heater. Nitrogen dioxide, gas cooker from cigarettes. Carbon dioxide from combustion, cig- uh, cigarettes. Carbon dioxide, combustion, respiration, and formaldehyde, particle board, carpet, adhesives, insulation. Sulfur dioxide, coal combustion, other organic vapors, benzene and toluene, etc. It derives from solvent, adhesive, resin products, aerosol sprays. And then the ozone coming from the electric arcing, ultraviolet light sources, the radon and daughters, building material, asbestos, insulation, fireproofing, mineral fibers, appliances, smoky cooking fuel. Open fire cooking stoves produce heavy smoke containing fine particles, carbon monoxide, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons or PAS. Carbon monoxide sources gas, kerosene wood, stoves, and coal. Fires, fireplaces, furnaces, leaking chimneys, and vents. Room, water heaters, vehicle exhaust enclosed garage, tobacco smoke. Any place where combustion is incomplete, that is the sources of our carbon monoxide. Second-hand tobacco is children whose mothers smoke, 70% more respiratory problems, pneumonia and hospitalization in 1 year. In year one is 30% higher. Infant mortality is 80% higher. 20% of all infant death could be avoided if all pregnant stopped smoking. 5 times higher risk of sudden infant death syndrome. Pesticide. Spraying pesticide at home or school, higher concentration near the floor, persistence in some surfaces, carpets, soft toys, overuse and misuse, children's behavior and inhalation of pesticides, crawling, playing close to the floor, plush toys, hands to mouth, object to mouth. Maraming salamat dyan. 3 people na nanonood. Mosquito coils. Household use in Africa, Asia, South America. Major active ingredient, pyretrins. Long-term exposure linked to asthma and wheezing. Solvents and volatile organic compounds. Alkenes, aromatic hydrocarbons, alcohol, aldehydes, ketones. Sources, solvent, fabric softeners, cleaning products, paint, glues, waxes, and polishing materials, spray, propellants, dry cleaning fluids, pins and markers, binders, and plasticizers, cosmetics, hairspray, perfume. These are the solvent and volatile organic compound sources. Biological pollutants are where living organisms, animal, dunder, dust, mites, molds, infectious agents, sources of biological agents, water, damaged surface and materials, humidifiers and stagnant water, water vapor from cooking and showering, air conditioning system, mattresses, upholstered furniture, and carpets. Adverse health effect of indoor air pollutants in health. Acute irritation of the mucous membrane, eyes, nose, throat. Cough, wheeze, chest tightness, increased airway responsiveness to allergens, increased incidence of acute respiratory illness, cold pneumonia, otitis otitis media, bronchitis, exacerbation of asthma. A chronic long-term exposure decreases lung growth, impairment of pulmonary function, increased susceptibility to chronic obstructive lung disease, including asthma. What about outdoor air pollution? Is the outside. Worldwide, it is estimated that 1.3 million people, more than half of them in the developing countries, die every year from urban outdoor air pollution. Urban outdoor air pollution is a major environmental health problem affecting people in both developed and developing countries. These are the major pollutant and their effect. Ozone. Ozone is composed of three atoms of oxygen. It is a poisonous gas that covers the. It is found in the stratosphere. It filters ultraviolet radiation. It protects the Earth from extreme temperature. Significant decrease in the lung function, inflammation, and pain when breathing. Particulate matter, air pollution, chronic bronchitis, emphysema, as well as people with heart disease. Exposure can trigger asthma attack and can cause wheezing, coughing, and respiratory irritation in the individuals with sensitive airways. Nitrogen oxide irritate the lungs and lower resistance to respiratory infections such as influenza. Sulfur dioxide affect on the breathing respiratory illness, changes in the lungs, defenses, and aggravation of existing heart disease. So we have also acid rain or acid deposition, a form of precipitation that contains high levels of sulfuric or nitric acid, can contaminate drinking water and vegetation, damage aquatic life, and erode buildings. Effects of outdoors air pollution, health aspects, social and economic aspects. Health effects of air pollution are both immediate and delayed. The immediate effects are burning by the respiratory system, the resulting state in acute bronchitis. If the air pollution is intense, it may result even in immediate death by suffocation. The delayed effects most commonly linked with air pollution are chronic bronchitis, lung cancer, bronchial asthma, emphysema, and respiratory allergies. Lead poisons many systems in the body and is particularly dangerous to children developing brain and nervous system. Elevated lead levels in children have been associated with impaired neuropsychological development as measured by loss of IQ, poor school performance, and behavioral difficulties. The elderly children, smokers, and those with chronic respiratory difficulties are most vulnerable. Social economic aspect. These comprise destruction of plants and animal life, corrosion of metals, damage to buildings, cost of cleaning, and the maintenance and repairs and aesthetic nuisance. Air pollution also reduces visibility in towns. It can soil and damage clothing. How to control this air pollution? Control and prevention of prevention of air pollution. The World Health Organization has recommended the following procedures for the prevention and control of air pollution. Approaches to reduce indoor air pollution. Number one, eliminate or control the sources of pollution. Improve the stove, clean fuels, kerosene gas, venting stoves for cooking and heating, regular maintenance of cooking, heating, and cooling system. Ventilation, building design, dilute, remove pollutants through ventilation with outdoor air. Air cleaning, not air freshener. Air filters and ionizers may remove some airborne particles, gas-absorbing materials is used to remove gaseous contaminants. Education and advocacy. Education of children, family and community, health care providers. Environment policy making, framework, convention on tobacco control, clean outdoor, uh, clean outdoor, yes, clean outdoor, clean indoor air regulation, community actions, then research. Control of outdoor air pollution, containment, that is prevention of escape of toxic substances into the ambient air. Containment can be achieved by variety of engineering methods such as enclosure, ventilation, and air cleaning. A major contribution in this field is the development of registers for the removal of contaminants. Replacement, that is replacing technological process causing air pollution by a new process that does not increase use of electricity, natural gas, and central heating in place of coal have greatly helped in smoke reduction. There is a move now to reduce lead in petrol, which is cumulative poison. Dilution is valid so long as it within the self-cleaning capacity of the environment. Some air pollutants are readily removed by vegetation. The establishment of green belts between industrial and residential areas is an attempt at dilution. The capacity for dilution is, however, limited and trouble occurs when the atmosphere is overburdened with pollutants. Green belts. Ano itong mga green belts? Control of outdoor air pollution legislation. For example, Clean Air Act legislation covers such as matter as height of chimneys, powers to local authorities to carry out investigations, research, and education concerning air pollution, creation of smokeless zones, and enforcement of standard for ambient air quality. Smokeless zones. Ozone hole in the ozone layer. The term ozone hole refers to annual thinning of the ozone layer observed yearly over the South Pole areas whereby the amount of ozone in the atmosphere is drastically decreased in local spring. Since the beginning of the 80s, one notices that this hole is getting deeper and that cover surface is getting larger. There is also the what we call the Montreal Protocol. What is this Montreal Protocol? The Montreal Protocol was one of the first environmental agreements to formally recognize the precautionary principle related actions taken consistent with this principle have included the preemptive decision to ban the new ozone depleting substances before they were ever overproduced commercially. That's the Montreal Protocol. In 2009, the Montreal Protocol became the first treaty in history to achieve the universal ratification with 196 government parties. As a consequence, it can now be said that the entire global community has legally committed itself to meeting specific time-bound targets for the virtual phase-out of the nearly 100 chemicals that have ozone-depleting properties. So I hope guys you learned something new in my discussion regarding this air pollution. And in addition guys, we need to plant more trees and protect our wildlife can somehow ano, reduce pollution. So that I think that's all for now, guys. Thank you so much for listening, and see you again next time for the next lecture. Thank you so much. God bless. Mwah.